Sam Amick of USA Today joins us now. I guess you're not surprised either. LeBron opted out, Sam.
Not at all, Dan. Not at all. Like you said, I mean, you hit it on the head. It is funny how we all saw it coming. We knew it was happening, and now Twitter and the basketball world is ablaze talking about this thing. And I think you're right. It is just the possibilities are endless. We've seen before, 4 years ago at this point, what happened when back in 2010 when LeBron just kind of set the basketball world on fire. So I think that's why folks are engaged, and we'll see what happens here.
All right, what happened? Dwayne Wade that's the curiosity here of what he does. Does he take one for the team, restructure the deal? Maybe he becomes a sixth man. Maybe it allows him to actually get a number two guy. What do you think Dwayne Wade does?
That's the thing. I agree that it's hugely relevant. I just don't get the sense that we're going to see a huge pay cut coming from D. Wade. I feel like it's almost the Eastern Conference's equivalent of the Kobe situation, where a guy like that, a lot of the comments that he's made in the past make you tend to believe that not necessarily getting a Kobe type extension, but that kind of money is what he might feel like he's owed based on what he's done for the franchise. And then the kind of that mentality that, it's almost a lifetime achievement type of thing that, he's owed it. But that doesn't help in the here and the now based on the CBA and how harsh it is as far as the cap and how restrictive it can be these days. So that is the million-dollar question, and I think that's why LeBron is smart to do this. He takes a step back, puts the pressure on Pat Riley. He can talk to Chris and Dwayne, figure out what they want to do. And I think, there were some red flags waving during this season when he didn't like the Mike Miller move. He didn't like the fact that they traded Joel Anthony, and he wants to know that there's a blank check and that, they're going for broke, and that's what they're going to have to tell him now.
What's the Heat's plan?
The Melo thing has obviously been much discussed, but even they were quick to say that, that the odds of Melo coming to Miami are pretty slim. And beyond that, I don't know what plan B is. I don't know, you're going to find role players that are going to get easier to add in if these three guys shave their salaries down a bit. And I do think LeBron is certainly willing to do that. He's got the luxury of making so much money off the floor that it makes that type of a move a lot easier to swallow. And then we'll see again if D. Wade and Bosh are willing to do the same. And, and I think they'll give their players a voice and figuring out who they want to bring to town. But as far as a splashy Big Four, add another dynamic talent to this mix, I don't see it. There's been talk about Kyle Lowry of the Raptors coming their way, but he's not. I don't see a guy like that in the prime of his career coming in at $4 or $5 million just to go win a title. They don't have a ton of options when it comes to stars.
Can teams approach LeBron right now that since he's an unrestricted free agent, you can have teams reaching out to his agent?
Not yet. Not till July 1.
Okay.
Yeah. July 1 to July 10 is the moratorium where teams can have discussions. They can reach agreements in principle. They won't get formalized until July 10th. So the teams can't reach out. But the funny caveat with the NBA that makes things really interesting is that there's no restrictions on players talking to players. I did an interview last week, and I kind of chuckled that I felt like a PR wing of the Houston Rockets because I had Dwight Howard talking about Melo and talking about LeBron on the record, and he's free to do that. If their GM, Daryl Morey, even uttered those guys' names, he'd get slapped with a tampering charge. So that's kind of the end around. And right now, I think, star players in the league are in full force when it comes to recruiting.
The Kevin Love situation, that it seemed like the Warriors were on the verge, and now they're not. And now Chicago could be on the verge. What's going to happen with Kevin Love?
I don't know. Flip Saunders, the T-Wolves president, has been sending this message to teams that he's not as eager to move Kevin as everybody had assumed. I feel like he's right there for the taking for the Warriors if they want him. And it's an interesting debate because they love this young player. They have Klay Thompson, the son of former Laker Michael Thompson. And he's a very, very good player, a two-way talent, a guy that they feel like he helps Steph Curry defensively because Steph, we all know, is not, a very good defender. And so they're chewing on this thing, and they don't want to lose Klay in these deals. And if they gave Klay up, I definitely think, Kevin would be in a Warriors jersey. So those talks are not dead. They're just kind of dormant, and we'll see what goes there. And I get the sense that other than the Warriors, I just don't see Minnesota pulling the trigger anywhere else right now because they don't have to. If they want to push this thing up to the trade deadline, they can do that. And they've got, they already have a lot of solid offers on the table, but they have this love affair with Klay Thompson. They would love to get him in a T-Wolves jersey, and they're still, hoping they can.
Well, the irony is they passed on the opportunity to draft Steph Curry. Now they may end up trying to trade for his backcourt mate.
Yeah, right. No, and absolutely. And I think that's the concern with the Warriors, too, is that they had Steph is phenomenal. He's a superstar at this point, but I think they've learned enough about him that they've got to have a guy next to him that helps you defensively. They had Jarrett Jack, and he was a great fit, and they lost Jarrett Jack, and then, it was bad for a while on that end. So that's the concern, and I just don't think they want to see Steph exposed again when it comes to the defensive side of the ball.
Sam, good to talk to you again. Thanks for joining us.
You got it, Dan. Thanks, man.
That's Sam Amick, USA Today.